Hey, welcome here. My name is Alejandro, and welcome back to another video. I'm going to talk about something important today, and we're going to talk about really the personal statement for medical school and why it's not about you. And that sounds really controversial, but it's going to make more sense as we discuss a little bit here. So, in the next 15 minutes or so, I'm going to break down why the personal statement is not for you. And when you can adopt this new mindset, it's actually going to transform your writing and it's going to make you much more desirable to medical schools. So, I am the founder of Market the Mission, or MTM for short. And this is just a little bit of tidbit of what I do inside the program and how I help applicants. I've helped so many applicants, hundreds of them over the last 5 years. And I'm just really passionate about what I do. And I hope that you can learn a little something today. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to go ahead and share a screen real quick. Let's see here where I'm at. Where am I at? Please hold. All right. Been a long day. Been a long day. And today is December 10th, 2025. So we're coming up to the end of the year. It's crazy. 2026. All right. So here we are. Again, why your personal statement to medical school isn't actually about you. And this is very interesting to say, but this is going to make more sense in the next 15 minutes. Okay. So here's the uncomfortable truth about the personal statement. Most pre-meds think the personal statement is their life story, my chance to prove I'm worthy, or a written resume with feelings, right? It's not a written resume with feelings. It's not a self-worth issue. And it's certainly not your life story. Okay. The reality is your personal statement is not about proving you're special. Okay. It's about why giving you one of their limited seats, medical schools, helps other people. Okay. To put it in other words, AdComs, admission committees to medical schools, are ultimately asking this very important question. If we invest in this person, if we invest in you, who benefits? Who benefits? That's what they're asking. So understanding that, reframe your mind right now and move away from this, what I call this me-centered personal statement. Understand that AdComs are looking for an ROI, return on their investment. We'll talk about this in a second. The key shift, though, again, is I want you to go from, look at everything I did. Please accept me. Am I worthy? Here's my resume with some feelings sprinkled in there, to here's my mission. Here's the mission I'm stepping into. And here's why it matters. Here's why you need to be pursuing me as a pre-medical student. That's what you need to shift to. Number two, what most pre-meds actually write, and probably what you're doing. The most common type of personal statement is a me-centered pattern of writing. Again, we're not writers, so how else could we know? Even if you are an English writer, even if you are someone who does have a writing background, you weren't taught to write the medical school personal statement. You were never taught to market yourself. You were never taught to convey your story in a compelling fashion that grips the soul of your reader. You were never taught to write like this. Of course, you're going to write in this me-centered pattern. I've always loved science and helping people. In fact, this line right here can come in a very advanced way. It can sound like the biological foundations and principles of the natural sciences has been so interesting to me, coupled with my desire to further my assistance towards humanity. I mean, I've seen some crazy ways of saying I love science and I love helping people. It's not your personal statement is not a chronological life story from childhood to college. It's not. And a lot of people, and maybe you watching this video right now, thought it was. Maybe that's what your draft is right now. This is not an autobiography. It's not a long list of shadowing and volunteering with no clear through line. When we do write like that, like all this right here, which is very, very common, this lands for AdComs in very specific and very predictable ways. It's safe, it's generic, and the worst one of all, you're forgettable. Think about it for a second. Think of the thousands of applicants who are taking those exact same writing patterns and putting them in their personal statement. You've become forgettable. This literally could belong to 500 applicants, probably more. I should change it to like 10,000, 1,000. It doesn't answer, so what? Who does this actually help? Right? Like, adcoms are ultimately asking that, like, that's what they arrive to when they read this personal statement. When you write in these patterns, so what? Who does this actually help? And the lingering question inside their minds, how do I know this? Because I served on the admissions committee at UC Irvine my first 2 years of medical school. So I got an understanding of this. The lingering question in their minds is, if I admit you, what changes? What changes for patients? What changes for communities? What changes for the field of medicine? What will you do for us? That's the big question, the ROI. Think about it. Think of the thousands of applicants. Let me adjust my chair. Think of the thousands of applicants applying to medical school, the 12,000 applicants that are applying, and the 110 seats that are available. What will you do for us? It's an uncomfortable truth. Number 3, what AdComs, what the admissions committees at medical schools really care about. They're not just choosing students, and I need you to get this in your brain right now, okay? They're choosing future physicians who will show up for specific communities, carry certain values into rooms they're not in, and use their training to move the needle somewhere. Underneath every single application, AdComs are thinking in the review process, who will this person be with real patients? Who gets served if we give them a seat? What kind of impact and energy are we putting into this world? Think about it for a second. This medical school that you're applying to, they have a name and a reputation. And with all these new medical schools that are popping up, and the medical schools that are the top 20, they're not trying to lose their positioning. And if they accept the wrong people who carry their name in not the best lighting, not good for them, not good for their ROI, right? So they have to be very selective and intentional with the individuals they're selecting. The numbers matter. I'm not saying they don't. Your metrics do matter. Of course they do. But thousands of applicants have your numbers. Thousands of applicants have high stats, mid stats, and even low stats. That doesn't cut it anymore. If metrics was all that mattered, they could reach their hand in blindly, grab all the 517, 519 MCATs, and all the 3.78 GPAs and accept them. It's not what cuts it anymore. Your mission is what tells them why you belong in their class and why they should be pursuing you, why they should be chasing you. Now, this M here with this mission with a capital M is very specific, and we're going to get into it right now. But this is what AdComs really care about. We're moving past the age of metrics, especially in the age of AI right now. We want humanity. We want real. We want grit. We want vision. What mission actually means in terms of MTM. Again, MTM is Market to Mission. That's the company that I have founded. This is the program that applicants join to get in their dream medical schools. Is what I'm super passionate about, helping applicants market their mission. So in MTM, it is all my applicants know exactly what I mean by mission, and I'm going to share it with you today, and you're going to learn about it today. Your mission, let's talk about what it's not. Your mission is not a vague, I want to help underserved communities. It's not that, okay? It's not a buzzword salad about equity and justice. It's not that either. A lot of applicants, including you, may have that tactic down in your personal statement right now. The buzzwords and the I want to help underserved communities. Your mission is the specific people you understand deeply given your unique lived experiences. Let me repeat this. Your mission is the group of individuals that you wish to serve given your unique lived experiences because of how you grew up, what you went through, what you've seen, the problems you can see from the inside that others miss. Let me repeat this. This is where your value comes in. The problems that you can see inside within a patient population that others miss. Again, given your unique lived experiences. The way medicine becomes a tool to serve those people long term. Vision, impact. It's not about you, your resume of activities you did in that moment, me-centered, my life story laid out, all my trauma. No, it's beyond you. It's for the greater good. It's this patient population you wish to serve. You're passionate about serving. So your mission shows up when you can answer the following questions. Who am I really here for? Hint, it's not for yourself. Weird as it is to say, it's not. A piece of it is, but it really is not. Especially becoming a physician, you got to really want this. It's a hard path. It's not like any other job. And it's certainly not for your parents. If you're going to medical school for your parents, or if you're a parent watching this right now, it's not for you. What do I refuse to ignore? Why do I need an MD or a DO to do this work at the level I see? And that's really important because at times when applicants can identify their mission, let's say you're able to identify your mission. You're like, oh, Hunter, I'm vibing with you right now. It's for the greater good, for the population I wish to serve. It's not about me, bro. It's beyond me, right? It's my drive. It's my vision. It's the impact, the legacy that I'm going to leave. That's what AdComs are drawn towards. Not me-centered. Yes, I'm on board with that. The second problem is, let's just assume, I'm going to be nice and assume that you got this down. The second problem that we run into is that once you start conveying your mission in writing, now it becomes a question of AdComs look at it and says, well, why don't you sound like you might be a better attorney? You sound like you might want to go into health policy. You sound like you might want to go into social work. Are you sure you want to be a physician? It's really hard to communicate your mission as well as why you want to specifically become a physician. Those two things are ridiculously hard to do. It's exactly what we do in the program at MTM, right? Because you can fall down that slippery slope of, oh man, I'm losing sight on what the personal statement is and what I'm doing. I'm trying to become a physician at the end of the day, right? No fault on your own. It's because, again, most of us don't have the writing tools. We weren't writers. We certainly didn't take classes in undergrad to help us market ourselves in this convincing manner to snatch the souls of people, right? Number 5 here, 2 types of personal statements and which one wins. Okay, so the version A is the me-centered one. This is very common, okay? These me-centered personal statements are focused on, I work hard. Here's all the things that I've done. I shadowed a lot. Here's all my clinical hours. And they'll start listing doctors, like literally doctors by names. It's a huge red flag. Or I faced adversity and made it. It's like, so what? Like, so what? Because the reader walks away thinking, okay, that's impressive, but so what? Where does this ultimately go? It's so focused on you, you don't even have a vision. And I'll tell you right now, Mayo Clinic, NYU, Stanford, UCSD, these top medical schools, they don't want applicants who can get a 517 on the MCAT and a 3.8 GPA. They want applicants with a vision. They want applicants who see beyond medical school, who see beyond themselves. That's who they're looking for. And if you're stuck in this me-centered, I'm going to win them over by telling them how hard I work and all my clinical hours and how much adversity I face, ain't going to cut it. Ain't going to cut it. Version B, this is where it gets good. Version B is the mission-centered personal statement. This uses your story as a vehicle and not the destination. Let me repeat this. It uses your story as a vehicle and not the destination. Most applicants will take their story and they'll say, I have a powerful story. I have a powerful story. They think that their story is what's going to get them into medical school. They rest all their chips on that story. When in reality, the reframe in their mind should be, yes, I have a powerful story, but this isn't the end all be all. I'm going to use it as a vehicle to further highlight my mission and the patient population I wish to serve. It's for the greater good. That's the key difference right there. So version B, mission-centered personal statements are focused on community and patients they're drawn to, specific moments that shook how you see healthcare and healthcare access, and how you started moving differently because of these moments, how you started moving differently because of these meaningful moments in your life, how the world around you, your perspectives have changed, your vision has become sharper, your mission has become sharper, you see the problems, you're more driven than ever. The reader walks away thinking, I know who this person is here for. And in fact, I feel like I know them deeply. You didn't need to share your entire life story, but they feel like they know you deeply. And they know that it's beyond you. They say, I can see why we'd want them representing our school. I want that person. I want that applicant. And I want them wearing Mayo Clinic, USC gear. I want them here. I want them representing our school. I'm proud of that person. They think they have a drive that goes beyond medical school. So the key idea I want you to think of here is the story. Yes, it's about you. Yes, it's your vehicle. But the meaning is about your mission. You're using it as a vehicle to get to the end point, which is your mission. Number 6, almost done here. What a strong personal statement actually does. It answers why you, for whom, and to what end. Why you, for whom, and to what end. It gives AdComs, the admissions committees, a clear sense of identity, who you are as a person. Again, without sharing your entire life story or trauma. A clear sense of direction and where you're headed, what your vision is. They should be able to see and project, like, I can see where this person's going to be in a couple years after medical school. I can kind of see it. And it gives them a clear sense of service. Again, who benefits if you succeed? Yes, it's great that you succeed. Yes, it's great you get into medical school, but who ultimately benefits if you succeed? That's the vision. It doesn't dump your entire trauma history on a committee of stranger. That's pity seeking. So for a lot of folks that I help out, come from underrepresented student backgrounds in medicine, like myself, and at times we tend to, because we're more likely to have had a lot of adversity in our lives, right? Just generally speaking, we kind of fall into this victim mindset where if I share all my traumas with you, you're somehow going to magically see how much I've overcome and how much resilience I have. I'm actually, and as hard as it is to hear right now, it's pity-seeking behavior. It's pity-seeking. You got to be radically honest with yourself. That's what you're doing it. I'm not saying you can't share certain traumas. Absolutely not. In fact, I teach my applicants how we do that in a very strategic way that grips the souls of AdComs. But again, we're not writers. You're not a writer, so you don't know how to do this. So what you think is fire is actually literal fire. It's literally dumpster fire. It's pity-seeking behavior. And I hate to say it, but it is. Think about it. No one has ever gone on a date because they felt sorry for someone else. Like, that just doesn't happen. It's not right? Medical schools are not going to invite you for an interview because they feel sorry for you. On the other hand, folks try to be impressive on every single line. So this is the exact opposite. They try to highlight every stat, every institution they went to, GPA, MCAT, the doctors they worked with, the doctors' names, all these roles, these esteemed titles. Oh, it's gross. There's like literally no humility in this student. It's gross. And then there's the person who's in between. They just wrote to play it safe. They don't talk about sensitive topics, so they won't go into trauma stuff. But they also don't want to come off as showboating, so they don't know how to narrate some of their like roles, their impressive roles, in a humble way. So it's just like super generic. Very, very generic. Some things to avoid here. We kind of already talked about it, but the trauma confessional, don't do it. Oversharing personal details no one asked you to share. Really, because ultimately it makes the reader feel worried for you instead of confident in you. Let me repeat that. It makes the reader feel worried for you instead of confident in you. Then you got the resume remix. And this is like taking every activity and turning into one long paragraph, or just cramming all these things together. It literally reads like a resume. There's no humanity in it. There's no emotional resonance in it. There's no way a medical school is going to read that and be like, yes, I want this person. There's no way that's going to happen. And then you have the hero fantasy. This is essentially someone who thinks they heard everything I just said. And they're like, okay, Alejandro, it's me-centered. I'm going to not make it me-centered. So then they slip into this very slippery slope of the hero fantasy. So they position patients who they're passionate about as the story, but then the applicant will swoop in there in like a noble sense and cast themselves as this hero, this savior complex. That reads probably the worst out of all these. It's very disingenuous. The sad part is most applicants don't want to do this, but because their writing skills lack, They do this on accident, and it sucks. It sucks. So again, why these hurt you? They ultimately self-focused. Even the one that's the hero fantasy where you think you're putting the patient first, even though that one is it's a sneaky, insidious one. It's still self-centered. It's still me-centered. It's putting yourself there first on a pedestal. If it wasn't for me, this patient would be X, Y, and Z. Again, we don't know how to write in a compelling fashion. That's why. Plain and simple. Like we don't. You were never taught this. Last point here, how to start thinking differently about your story. Okay. Instead of what sounds impressive, I want you to ask what moments actually changed. Whoops. What moments actually changed how I move in the world? That's growth mindset right there. Instead of how do I justify myself? Ask what did I see that I can't unsee and how did I respond? Okay. Instead of how do I make them like me? Ask if I had one seat to give away, why would I give it to me? Not for my sake, but for the sake of the people I'm here to serve. That's a real question to ask yourself. If there was one seat to give away, would you give it to yourself, objectively speaking? Again, you don't need a perfect childhood, and you certainly don't need a trauma story. You don't need a 528. You don't need a 515. You don't even need a 510. You don't need 10 miracle stories. What you do need is honesty about where you come from, clarity about who you're for, and evidence, keyword evidence, I'm going to bold that you've already started living that mission in real life with the things that you've done, the things that you've accomplished. Evidence, the things that you've already started your mission. That's what we're conveying to AdComs. That they don't need to train you, quote unquote. They don't need to hold your hand. You're already doing these things. And that's how you position yourself. There's a very specific writing technique that we need to leverage when we do that. That's exactly what I teach my applicants in Market the Mission. So the problem is most applicants are too close to their own stories to see what actually belongs in the personal statement, right? So what I mean by that is maybe you have a really unique story, but you've become so normalized to it and desensitized to it that you can't even see the uniqueness, the power in your own story. Maybe you come from an environment where your mom and dad are physicians, or they come from higher achieving backgrounds, and you're telling yourself, I don't have a story. That's the worst thing somebody can tell themselves. Again, you've desensitized yourself. You do have a powerful story. You just don't know how to communicate it. What should stay in the journal and not in front of a committee, right? Like what I mean by that is like you got powerful stuff in the journal, right? And selecting what comes out of that journal. And then also how to connect the story, your story, when I say there, I mean your story, to a clear mission without sounding fake and disingenuous, especially in the age of AI where AdComs can sniff out ChatGPT a mile away. I mean, think about it. You can sniff out ChatGPT a mile away. So can AdComs. So what we do really inside Market the Mission, MTM, I help you pull out the core mission of your story. I help you we show you how to talk about that mission across basically your personal statement, your activities, your secondaries, and your interviews. Again, by we, I mean I, in our community. And then really schools aren't just seeing you as just another strong student. They're seeing you as someone whose mission they want to invest in. That's when they start chasing you. Okay, that's when they start chasing because you're marketing yourself appropriately. So if you're listening to this and thinking, I know I have more to say, I just don't know how to put it together, you're in the right place because that's what I'm here for. If you're listening and you're thinking, I'm tired of sounding like everyone else, Alejandro. I'm tired of sounding like robots. I'm tired of going to Reddit and look at the templates. I'm tired of following all these medfluencers and using generic templates and going on the big company websites and looking at their free generic personal statements. Like, I'm tired of that, bro. Then yeah, you're in the right place, right? Because what I do is very unconventional. And if this sounds like you vibe with Market the Mission, with MTM, reach out to me. DM me on Instagram at the OG Premed. and you can DM me the word mission. That way I know you watch this video, and let's see if you're a good fit. So I don't accept everybody into the program. I like to ask questions first and see if you're a good fit. See if